What's up, boxing fans? This is TBE Boxing, back at you again. Today's topic: will Tyson Fury fold against Anthony Joshua the way Billy Joe Saunders folded against Canelo Alvarez? Let's chop it up and see what it's all about.
Got the money for minutes, pretty bitch, gotta show me titties. This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? That life before riches, huh? That life before riches, huh? Pretty bitch, show me titties, huh? And I got the glazzy run up on me, I'ma make you get it. I'ma make you get it.
Okay, boxing fans, let's talk some boxing. We're gonna chop it up. All right, so we all saw, there was a fight recently between Billy Joe Saunders and Canelo Alvarez. We all saw the outcome. Previous to the fight actually happening, there was a lot of talk. Okay, a lot of talk from Billy Joe Saunders, a lot of braggadocio, a lot of big talk actually from Billy Joe Saunders. Uh, we heard about the Gypsy magic. Okay, we heard about he was gonna go in there and do this and do that. He was gonna move. He was gonna show some skills in the ring against Canelo, and he did show somewhat of some skills, but wasn't enough to really help him in the end. And in the end, at the end of the day, Canelo folded him up like a lawn chair and sent him home with a broken eye socket. So, the question we have to ask ourselves, with all this talk that Billy Joe was doing, and all the bragging and the big talk and the attitude, the gypsy fighting man and all of that. Plus we also saw Billy Joe Saunders, criticizing Daniel Dubois because he had to take a knee in his fight against Joe Joyce when he injured his eye. Billy Joe went on at length about how they'd have to carry him out of the ring if he was in a similar situation, and he was pretty arrogant and condescending towards Daniel Dubois, and outrageous in his criticism, really. So he basically criticized Daniel Dubois, without mercy. Actually, he was very, merciless in his criticism of Daniel Dubois. And sometimes we see in life, things repeat themselves, and so not even a few weeks, or just barely a few weeks later, or a few months later, actually, after he criticized Daniel Dubois, we see that the same thing happened to Billy Joe Saunders. He got damage to his eye, and what happened? Did he get carried out? No. All this talk about being carried out on a stretcher and let them carry you out. We saw that Billy Joe walked out of the ring after he got his eye injured. He didn't get carried out on a stretcher. He didn't stay and fight. Okay, he didn't protest when the fight was stopped. So, again, we see that all this, it's not good to always talk sometimes so much. Some people talk too much, and Billy Joe is one of those people. He put his foot in his mouth big time, and so here it is. He's in the same situation, and he did the same thing that Daniel Dubois did. He basically, declined to continue. Okay, he retired on his stool. So, all the talk that he was talking, we see that, it was just that talk at the end of the day, okay? Because he did nothing different than what Daniel Dubois did, okay? And so it is what it is. Now, the fact that Billy Joe Saunders folded up like a lawn chair against Canelo, and, there's another gypsy out there, the Gypsy King, quote unquote, Tyson, the Gypsy King Fury, another gypsy who does a lot of big talking. Okay, as a matter of fact, he was helping Billy Joe Saunders, talk up the fight with Canelo, saying that Canelo wasn't this, Canelo wasn't the beast, Canelo wasn't as to be feared as some people fear him, and that Billy Joe Saunders was going to come in there and deal with Canelo Alvarez, and we all saw what happened. Nothing like that happened at all. Billy Joe barely escaped with his life, and he got a thorough beating from Canelo, to the point now where he might be, it might be, we might have to say that Canelo retired Billy Joe Saunders, because there is no guarantee that Billy Joe Saunders is going to ever fight again. So all of that, I say all of that to bring us to this point. Is the same thing going to happen between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua? Will we see, Tyson Fury go in there against Joshua and get folded like a lawn chair, the way Billy Joe Saunders did? Okay, well, let's talk about it. Let's chop it up. I mean, Tyson Fury has been doing a lot of talking, okay, about the Anthony Joshua fight. I mean, that is when he is, talking about actually making a fight and not getting a tune-up or not making a fight, or Tyson Fury says a lot of things, and you can't really put much into what he actually says sometimes, because you don't know what, if he's just talking to be talking, or he's just making stuff up, or he's just playing games. We don't know. But at the end of the day, one thing that's consistent about Tyson is his confidence in his ability, his apparent confidence in his ability to beat any fighter, much less Anthony Joshua. Okay, so the question we have to ask ourselves today is that confidence, or is it really confidence, or just talk, and is it warranted? Okay, is there some substance to the fact that Tyson Fury thinks that he can beat Joshua without much of a problem? Okay, will he go in there and perform like he did against Deontay Wilder in the second fight, or will he get folded up like a lawn chair the way Billy Saunders did in his fight against Canelo? That's a good question, and we're going to talk about it, and we are talking about it. And one thing I could say, not Billy Joe, but Anthony Joshua is not Deontay Wilder. Okay, let's make that clear. And so I doubt of the success that Tyson Fury had with Deontay Wilder, he will be able to have that same exact success against Anthony Joshua. Okay, at the end of the day, Anthony Joshua is a better fighter than Deontay Wilder, better boxer, more of a repertoire when it comes to various punches that he lands. Okay, good selection, punch selection, good power. It's not the Deontay Wilder power, but he has the power to knock you out. This is heavyweight we're talking about at the end of the day, and we're talking about super heavyweights really, because these guys are huge, and so it's not going to be the same type of fight. Okay, Anthony Joshua can box and he can slug. He's a puncher. He can punch as well. So I don't see the fight taking the same turn that it did with Deontay Wilder. I think this fight will be a lot more difficult for Tyson Fury, because Anthony Joshua is going to present more problems. He's not a one-dimensional fighter that just depends on one punch. He actually put his punches together. He has a wide repertoire of punches that he throws: hooks, uppercuts, crosses, jabs, body punches. So Anthony Joshua is going to present a different problem for Tyson Fury, and I think that it's going to be a difficult fight for Tyson Fury. Okay, much more difficult than the Deontay Wilder fight, because as we all saw in the Deontay Wilder fight, Tyson Fury basically just walked Deontay Wilder down and then stopped him basically. His corner threw in the towel. Same thing at the end of the day. He got stopped. So, I don't think that Tyson Fury is going to be able to do the same thing to Anthony Joshua. It's not impossible that Tyson Fury will win the fight. To me, it's a 50-50 fight. Okay, so Tyson Fury does have the ability to possibly win the fight, but whether or not he can actually stop Joshua, or whether or not he could actually even win is in question, I would think. Because like I said, it's a 50 fight, and so that means that it's any man's fight, really. Any one of these guys could win. But I think it's going to be a more difficult fight for Tyson Fury. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if Tyson Fury was stopped by Joshua. It's possible. Okay. We saw what happened in the Klitschko fight with Anthony Joshua and Klitschko. And, Tyson Fury also fought Klitschko, but we all saw what happened. It was much of a fight, even though Tyson Fury won decisively. But, it was more of a, technical fight in the sense that Tyson Fury was doing a lot of different things in there. And Klitschko never really got going and couldn't really mount an effective defense against Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury kept faking him out, fainting, and that gave Klitschko a lot of problems at the end of the day. And so they basically just hugged for most of the fight, really. A lot of clinching was going on, and so it wasn't much of a fight at the end of the day. But in the Joshua Klitschko fight, we saw that was a great fight, and Klitschko knocked Joshua down. Joshua knocked Klitschko down, and in the end, Joshua stopped Klitschko. So that was a great fight, and it was a decisive fight, much more decisive than the fight between Fury and Klitschko. So we see that Joshua is the type of fighter that, if he can end the fight, he will. And more than likely in the fight against Tyson Fury, I think Joshua is going to be going for the knockout. Okay, he's going to be looking to hurt Tyson Fury to the body. We saw him in the gym, practicing body shots. Okay, so this fight, I believe, will be a totally different fight than the fight between Deontay Wilder and Fury. And we don't really know what style or what game plan Fury is going to come in there with against Joshua. I mean, we hear him talking about he's going to do this and do that, but he's not really, telling us what he's really going to do. And so we're going to have to wait and see. But I would think that Anthony Joshua is going to present a whole different set of problems for Tyson Fury than the one-dimensional strategy that Deontay Wilder used in his fight against Fury. Basically the same strategy Deontay Wilder uses in all his fights. He waits and waits and waits, and when he sees the knockout, he goes for it, or he goes for the knockout every chance he gets, and basically just depend on that one punch knockout power that he has. And most of the time when Deontay Wilder fight, he loses most of the rounds. And then he ended up ending the fight with that knockout power that he had. And so he's, come to depend on that a lot. And he tried the same thing in the Tyson Fury fight. The first time he got a draw with that strategy. The second time he got knocked out. Or he got stopped. Okay? So, it is what it is. So, Tyson Fury is going to have some issues with Joshua, I believe. And, from the talk that we're hearing from Tyson Fury and his father sometimes, we at one point I heard his father saying that he wants to get a tune-up for Tyson Fury before the fight. I mean, I don't know if that's going to happen. But then we're hearing that Tyson Fury, sounds like he doesn't really want the fight. So, we don't know what that's all about. But at the end of the day, I believe that this fight is going to be a tough fight for both guys. Okay, because Tyson Fury can box and does know how to move and can do the things in the ring there that a lot of heavyweights can't do. But I think he's going to have problems with Joshua because Joshua is a more multi-dimensional fighter than Tyson Fury. I mean, not Tyson Fury, than Deontay Wilder. And so he's going to present a whole different set of problems for Tyson Fury and his team. Okay. Who's going to win this fight? It's difficult to say. Okay. But hopefully we get a good fight and we don't see the same thing that we saw in the Billy Joe Saunders Canelo fight where after Billy Joe, after the first punch was landed by Canelo, Billy Joe basically went into survival mode and tried to survive and tried to go the distance, but he was unable to because he ended up getting his eye socket, smashed in, and had to, discontinue the fight. So, I'm looking forward to this fight. I mean, and at this point, we don't even know if this fight is going to happen, anytime soon, really, because there's been many dates that's been changed, okay? And the last date we're hearing as of today is that it's going to be August 14th. So we don't know, if that's actually a solid date or not. But supposedly there's an announcement coming soon. And there's been many of those, and we're still not at a firm date as of right now. And so we don't know when the fight is actually going to happen. But whenever the fight does happen, it should be an interesting fight. And I think it's going to be a tough fight for Joshua and for Tyson Fury as well. But hopefully, Tyson Fury doesn't fold up like Billy Joe did. I doubt if that's going to happen because I think that, Tyson Fury is a much more skilled fighter than Billy Joe Saunders at the end of the day. And, although I think they both have the same type of mentality, they got this braggadocious mentality where they think that because they're gypsies, they're fighting men, quote unquote. And so, they think that they can go in there and, against anyone. And sometimes without even actually, getting the proper preparation, because I don't think Billy Joe Saunders was ready for this fight with Canelo. I don't think he was actually prepared condition-wise, and it showed in the fight. And so these guys think they can just go in there and do whatever they want, in a fight and win. And it worked for Saunders up until he met up with Canelo. And, it's been working for Billy. It's been working for Fury so far in his career, okay? But I think that this Joshua fight is going to be a turning point in the Fury, in Fury's road to greatness, if you want to call it that, okay? I think that Joshua is going to present a whole set of problems for Fury, and it's conceivable that Joshua could actually stop Fury or knock him out, okay? I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I wouldn't discount that. I wouldn't say it can't happen, okay? Just like I wouldn't say that, that it can't happen that Fury can possibly stop Joshua. So that's why I say it's a 50-50 fight. But the fight have to happen for us to see, for us to see what's going, go down. But hopefully that fight will be made and we'll be able to get, we'll get to see that, okay, as soon. So yeah. So the question for me is that whether Fury is going to fold up like Billy Joe Saunders did, or whether he's going to put up a tough fight. I would basically come down on the ladder. I think it's going to be a tough fight for both guys, but you never know sometimes one punch could change everything in a fight. And it's possible that Joshua could hurt Fury with the first punch that land. He does have heavy hands, and who knows what will happen from there. But Fury got a solid chin, so I wouldn't count on a one-punch knockout from Joshua. And like I said, I think it's a 50-50 fight. I think that Tyson Fury is much more skilled than Billy Joe Saunders. And I think that even though I think they both got the same discipline issues, okay, in and outside the ring. And but I think Fury is a bit more, skilled than Billy Joe Saunders. And I don't think, he's going to get outclassed necessarily by Anthony Joshua the way Billy Joe Saunders was outclassed by Canelo Alvarez, okay? It was just different levels in there, and we saw that in the Billy Joe Saunders-Canelo fight. It was levels, and Billy Joe basically wasn't on the level for Canelo. And it's not necessarily because he doesn't have the right skills. I just think that, he wasn't really prepared enough, and he hadn't really been active enough, and hasn't really fought top quality opponents, and all of that showed, came back to haunt him in the ring against Canelo. When because one thing about Canelo, he does prepare for his fights, and when he does fight, he's always in top condition. You can't say the same about Billy Joe Saunders. So Billy Joe Saunders just wasn't ready. Tyson Fury, will he be ready for Joshua? We're gonna have to wait and see. It should be an interesting fight when it does happen. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully it happens soon, okay? And we get to see the fight, that everyone wants to see. So I think I'm going to leave it there right now. That's all I have for now. This is TBE Boxing. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Go to my website, tbeboxing.com. Get the latest TBE merchandise. Subscribe. You can subscribe to this channel from my website as well. You can donate if you want to. Get the latest boxing news, headlines, and commentary at tbeboxing.com. Okay, so until the next time, this is TBE Boxing saying that's all I have for right now, and I'm out.